too much as I cut. And I'm going to basically cut up to the rib cage right now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make a window, like a flap, so you can see structures. You see this membrane that's kind of pulling up over here? Did you all see a membrane, a shiny membrane?
No.
That's the peritoneal membrane that you've heard about, the serous membrane that lines the abdominal cavity. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of make this flap in a way that I'm going to preserve what? There's a divider here between the abdominal cavity, the diaphragm, right. So I'm going to do that over here as well. So I'm exposing the abdominal cavity, but I want you to take a look upward, and you see there's like a dome-shaped structure, the diaphragm. Okay, if you can't, hold on. Just drips a little. Okay, there's a dome-shaped structure. All right, that's sitting there. If you can't see, you could switch with somebody. All right. Yeah, I do. Okay. All right. I didn't discuss it with him. All right. Now, why won't I cut straight up? What's going to be blocking my way that'll make it hard for me? The ribs. Well, the sternum, really. I can cut between what will be soft. If there's ribs running this way and the sternum, where am I going to try to cut? The cartilage, the costal cartilage is good. So I'm going to go a little bit off center to try to get through the costal cartilages as opposed to cutting straight through the bone of the sternum or through the ribs itself. So I'm basically cutting through the costal cartilages, and the sternum rather, is in the central region. Okay? Now I'm cutting above the diaphragm, again making a window, trying to preserve the diaphragm. Now I'm going to cut between the ribs to be able to see in the thoracic cavity. Now I'm going to crack the ribs to be able to open it up to...
Looks like it's still
Doing
alive.
the cat next semester, guys. Okay. What do you think the central thing is?
The stomach.
I'm in the
The
thoracic
heart.
cavity.
The heart.
Heart, covered with the pericardium, okay? And what's
Why is it
this over
blue?
here on the sides? Those are your lungs, okay? We're going to have to move the heart and the lungs to be able to see the structures that we want to see.
Yummy.
I'm so hungry now.
Okay. Now I've just isolated a large tube. You see this large tube that I'm holding with my finger? Okay? If you can't see, switch with someone. Just ask someone to, can you please let me come through for a minute? Could someone just, okay, I'm holding the esophagus with my finger now. And if I follow it down, I can see that it goes through the diaphragm. And it's going to end up on the other side of the diaphragm. What's this big structure right here? That's your liver. Oh, and by the way, if I will, okay. What's this over here? Gallbladder. Okay, I can actually, let me cut out the liver.
Actually green. I thought it was just a pretty little cover for it.
I'm going to cut out the liver for a minute so you could see it a little bit better. Okay, see the diaphragm a little better now? See that diaphragm? Okay, look at the gallbladder. Everybody see the gallbladder? Really is green, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is.
Really is green.
Pretty color.
Yeah. Okay, that's on the underside, okay? When we do this, first of all, there's this fatty omentum that's over here. This is a sheet of the mesentery that part of the peritoneal membrane. There's this sheet that forms this curtain of fat that comes down from the base of the stomach. This is the stomach here. You see the big stomach? Okay, this is what gives you your abdominal fat. If we look, I'm going to cut the diaphragm a little bit so we can see that connection. If we look now that I've cut the diaphragm and moved the liver, we can see that connection that we were talking about straight into the stomach. See that connection straight into the stomach? You see that? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the esophagus at one end, and I'm going to isolate the stomach so that we can, I'm just taking off that fatty omentum right now. I'm going to follow the stomach around because you know it curves. And you see it comes out over here into another tube. That's going to be what? What am I cutting right now? The duodenum. Okay. So I'm just separating it from the peritoneal membranes that are holding it in place. Okay. And here's the stomach. It has that curvature that we saw. It has that curvature that we saw. It's kind of C-shaped. It's going to have a ball of muscle, and I can feel it with my hands, how tight the esophageal muscle is, forming a sphincter at the end where the esophagus is. And what sphincter is down here by the pyloric stomach?
Pyloric sphincter.
The pyloric sphincter. Now, I don't know where these cats came from, depending on whether it was out on the streets or if it was kept inside, if it was well kept without, in a cage.
Yeah, that's why I see if there's anything in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's food in here.
All that hairy.
There's food in here. Okay, there's food in here.
How long ago, do you know how long ago the cat
That
died?
I couldn't tell you. The cat, though, just based on its content,
Because it's
Hairy.
here. You see the cat
was
themselves?
probably given cat food. This doesn't really look like it was
Yum.
eating other animals. Sometimes you find little bones and pieces of things. It was also not infected with worms. Sometimes we used to get cats that were alley cats,
Ew.
and when it opened up, you would see, they were dead, but you would see worms. They were infected. We're not seeing worms here, so this cat was cared for.
Probably a
before
house
it was,
cat.
It might have been a
That's
house
sad.
cat.
Oh, that sucks.
That's even sadder.
Okay, so that's its content of food.
Probably got out of hand. You used to die.
Okay, everybody see
Cats
that
are
nice
evil.
narrowing ball of muscle, the pyloric sphincter? Okay? Smooth, it's smooth muscle. What was it? That's up here the cardiac sphincter's up here by the esophagus. Now, the intestines don't just fall out. You'll notice that they're held in place by the mesenteries. The mesenteries are more peritoneal membrane, more serous membrane that are holding it in place. And you'll see that there are blood vessels. You see blood vessels are traveling through it. So the blood vessels is carrying blood and nourishment to the intestines and carrying the nutrients away, which will go to that hepatic portal vein system. All right? Now, if we're going to just gently pull on the small intestine. Okay. So I'm starting up at the duodenum, where which I separated. And by the way, look what's sitting in the crook of the duodenum. What's this organ right here? Do you see there's like this glandular material sitting? That's your pancreas, because the pancreatic duct is going to be draining right into the duodenum. So sure enough, there's your pancreas.
Oh.
So when we pull the duodenum away from the pancreas and we start separating it away from the mesenteries,
Oh, it is
okay,
really long.
this is your small intestine,
That's
which
so
is
cool.
Oh god, let's play jump rope.
Go, go, go.
I've been told by surgeons, when people have abdominal surgery and they have to cut the mesenteries, this is how they put it back into you.
Oh my
Oh,
god.
Tuck
chill.
it back in.
Oh, what
But
the fuck?
in life, it's all neatly organized, attached by the mesenteries, okay? And you'll notice that there's a change. So the small intestine is small but long. The large intestine of the cat is not like the large intestine of the human, which has the ascending, right, transverse, descending. Instead, it just has basically more like a single colon, which will, oh, this is a pregnant female.
Oh.
Oh my God, this is pregnant. She's pregnant. Let's just see.
Oh,
This is
Oh
1,
my
2,
God.
3, 4. That's 4 fetuses right there.
Wow. That is horrible. Cool. I never get a pregnant one. I'm so excited.
oh, that's fucked up.
Open them up.
They're pretty small. This is pretty small. I don't know how well developed they'll be at this point,
Yeah.
but let's just take a look.
I think like a little baby.
Actually, they killed like what? How many? 5 cats? Right?
Not really, because he could have died at birth, so you can't really say that.
Oh my god. You can see like
Can I keep it?
the, you can see the
At
face.
this
Yeah.
point, it's already a fetus. Yeah, a little smaller than this, much smaller than this for you. Yeah. Somebody email me this picture. Oh my God, this is a good one.
That is so cool.
That's not cool at all.
This already has developed eyes and fingers. This has
pregnant frog was
earbuds.
so lucky.
This is a very well developed but small fetus.
We got a cat.
Do you know how many months it is? Or
How
like
many months? I
Let's get a
don't.
pregnant
I
kid
don't.
next time.
But there's 1, 2, 3 more here. So there's 3 more in these. But at any rate, so the rectum would be where it goes down posteriorly to exit from the anus, which would be here. So that's your demo of a cat. You got to get a little ancillary benefit of seeing the fetus.
I want one.
And
I want to take one home.
any questions?
No. Can I take it?
Can I take the fetus?
That's kind of
I don't know if you can. You know, I wouldn't mind, but I think that
Put
all
it
of
in a
this
jar and keep it.
yeah, well, it would have to be in a preservative. If you want to ask the technician. If
Okay.
the technician says you can have it, you can have it.
like put it on my wall and stuff.
That's really
Okay.
cool.
The cat will be on the test, so we can have small intestine, we can have liver, we can